Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are looking at the second 5 polishes I bought to complete my SpongeBob SquarePants collection. I bought all of these for Black Friday 2023. I did have to give up my idea of everything being a jelly because I needed a white and a light green of a particular color, and those were going to need to be Krellies. So my overall vision for the collection does break down a little, but for a good reason. We're going to start today with my index finger. Mrs. Puff was a bit of a problem for me because I do not like the color that is Mrs. Puff. She's a very flaxen color with a lot of brown and yellow, and I do not like that color. So I decided to match the color of her darker back and spots. I chose Space Cowboy by Cirque Colors for this. It is a taupe linear holo. I thought it captured her without being overwhelming for me. I wanted Mrs. Puff as a character because I felt like she added an interesting counterpoint to some of the other characters, where most characters are annoyed by SpongeBob on the basis of personality traits. Mrs. Puff has to interact with his immaturity in a more serious way. He is dangerous behind the wheel of a boat, and she is genuinely harmed by him. On my middle finger, we have sandy cheeks. When I saw this Night Owl lacquer, I instantly knew this was my sandy squirrel. It is a white Krelly with copper shimmer and copper holo glitter. I've discovered that one way to mitigate my hatred of white Krellies is to add a shimmer. So I like how this looks, a thing I never thought I would say. It also helps that there aren't a variety of glitter colors, just different sizes. This polish really does sit in a sweet spot that allows me to enjoy a light colored Krelly. I thought the white base was perfect for her spacesuit, and just a hint for brown fur represented by the glitter. I love Sandy's chipper personality. She really does remind me of my own backyard animals. I did find the formula on this just a little thick, so I will probably thin it. It's plausible that thinning it will require 3 coats, but that's fine with me. I did cheat when applying this polish. I had a bit of a gap in one place in my cuticle line, so I used a thin nail art brush to fix up that area. Sandy definitely needs a coat of glitter grabber because those glitter are indeed textured and need some help smoothing out. The other reason I might thin it is that it might let me see the larger glitter as hollow on the nail. I can see that in the bottle where the glitter are pressed against the glass. So I do know they are hollow, but you'll see later in the full hand shots that the largest glitter just don't allow the hollow to come through. This probably means I would need to do 3 coats, but I am not a stranger to 3 coats of anything. And because they're thinner, they'll also dry quicker. Next is Karen Plankton, but I always call her Karen the computer, in the same way that I always mangle Sandy's name to Sandy Squirrel. This might be familiar because I have already swatched this in a video. I only do 2 coats on camera today, but I did do a 3rd off camera because this just never looks good to me in 2. I had to make a choice whether I wanted Karen to be silver or blue. At some point in the cartoon, she switches colors. I decided to go with blue because I knew there was a possibility of a pearl polish existing, and I wanted them to be different. When I saw this one on the Cuticula website, it looked very metallic, and it felt like the perfect color for her. It also had a bit of a nod to the silver version in those hollow flakes that do tend to look more silver in this polish. Because I already had Plankton, I did want Karen as a polish to complete that duo. It fed into my notion of having natural pairs of polish within the larger collection. Don't worry, we will talk about some characters I've overlooked. I do have rules for the maintenance of this collection. If I finish a bottle, I'm allowed to reorder it, no questions asked. If that doesn't exist anymore, I am allowed to find an appropriate replacement, and I can add new characters as I like. On my pinky is Squidward. I didn't buy Squidward in the first 5 polishes because he was going to look too close to Plankton, and I did want each polish to be distinct. So I delayed Squidward to the second half. Originally, I bought Cirque Colors Jade Jelly for Squidward in 2023. It was perfect in the bottle, but on my nail, my skin tones pulled the jelly color to look more brownish and muddy. So in 2024, I bought Cuticula's All of a Saturn to replace it, and it looks just like Squidward on the nail. I even get to represent his mustard shirt with the gold flakes. This isn't a polish that I normally would have purchased. I'm really not a fan of Crellies that I find too creamy. It so perfectly mimics Squidward that I just need to be quiet and live with it. I always wear this with other polishes so the effect on me isn't as strong. It did feel a little weird waiting so long to finally get a Squidward polish. As SpongeBob's neighbor and co-worker, he's such a big feature of the show. And lastly, back to my thumb. I left this finger to the end because I was struggling to decide who should get the final place in my collection. I felt like I had covered most of the major characters and many of the recurring ones. I didn't have Pearl, Mermaid Man, or Barnacle Boy, and they all felt like big enough features of the cartoon. I didn't want to break up the duo of the 2 superheroes. For some reason, I wasn't really interested in Pearl as a character at that time. If I ever expand again, I will get a Pearl. So I was racking my brain to decide what to do for that last polish. About a week into this process, I realized I had overlooked the pirate narrator, Patchy. Then I had a second problem. I couldn't find a polish that looked like Tom Kenny's live-action character, so I decided I would imitate the Patchy the Pirate painting, which has him in an orange frock. That's when I found Holo Taco's Zyler Cat Eye. It had that muted orange and brown tone that was perfect for that version of the pirate. It is a magnetic. I didn't remember to magnetize the bottle shot, but you can see me magnetize it during my application. This polish is very thick. I've been reluctant to thin it because it's magnetic and I want the magnetic particles to suspend correctly, but I may do so and just accept that I'll have to shake the bottle between coats. This is my only Holo Taco. To its credit, it was basically opaque in one coat. Purchasing this polish made me think about the price per volume of a lot of the polishes that I tend to buy. I'm thinking about making a video on that topic. For the full hand shots, we're just going to start with Zyler Cat Eye on my thumb. I do think I could have left it in one coat, but I had held my magnet the wrong way and the handle had been in the way, so I just went in for a second. In the sun, the scattered hollows show really well. Because they're so small, you absolutely do not need a glitter smoother. It can look orange or more honey-colored near the magnetic stripe with some serious brown tones. This was perfect for Patchy. For the other 4 fingers, just wow. Cirque is not kidding around with that linear hollow flare. Looking at the night owl that is Sandy, the holo isn't apparent for the larger glitter, but I am getting holo from the smaller ones. The shimmer in that one is shy on camera. It's not an in-your-face shimmer in the first place, but I think you have to pause it to see it here. And the sun is where I think Squidward's gold flakes look best. For the sun and shade shot, I don't think any of the polishes are changing drastically. And that is my current SpongeBob collection. As you can see, I did have to give up on my dream of everything being a jelly. Sandy and Squidward just were not going to work out that way. I do still have some room for expansion. And because I already have enough polishes to fill all 10 nails, I don't feel like I have to reach any specific number. I can just add the ones I like. If I've missed someone, let me know. I think the same is true of the artificial light. You're not seeing anything too different here. The only one that is difficult to remove is Sandy the squirrel because she has those enormous glitter. Hopefully you enjoyed this look into my addled brain. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe so that I can practice my clarinet and dream of the day I can finally play in front of all of Bikini Bottom's finest fish. Please enjoy a clip of the wild rabbit and the red squirrel peacefully eating together.